y'all? Welcome to a special edition of the Funkable Operator Podcast, episode 39. I understand how people at the New York Knicks game, they had like millions of people on 34th Street by Penn Station acting crazy. For what, so whatever. I didn't feel like attending to none of them places. Of going to a Knicks game and they have it on the big screen outside, crowds of people walking around like roaches, climbing on things like insects and caterpillars and grasshoppers. For a fact, the situation with Puff Daddy being locked up, if he's innocent or guilty, how would I really know about he being innocent or guilty? Rick Ross must got arrested. I don't know if that's true or false. Do you think my boy Rick Ross got arrested? Do you think he's in jail right now from the stuff that he did? Do you think I'm getting the blame for what people be thinking about in their own lifetime? Do I get that good respect for what did I do for my own goddamn self? You know what I'm saying? Life is very short. We live in a messed up world. It didn't matter if it was the past, present, or the near future, upcoming. Because in life, people have expiration dates. Expiration dates from the day you're born and the day you die. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you eat food, everything you buy in life has expiration dates. All humans and animals have expiration dates. The whole world had expiration dates. That's what God wanted. Mother Nature could say it's going to rain, it's going to snow, it's going to be sleet and hail, but what is going to be cloudy? It's going to be a thunderstorm. It's going to be a snowstorm. How would I want to consider that to be some other nonsense you put yourself through in life and want to take advantage of somebody getting arrested on the subway when there's about like 10 cops restraining you on the train and putting your punk ass into custody? Why would I feel about the situation the way it does? How will I ever be a hip-hop fanatic and not go to these mumble rap concerts? Why would I thinking about a mumble rap concert? How would I get respect going to a mumble rap concert if I don't know the words to the goddamn song? Why would I think about this? How would I really represent myself to be on the right path, to listen to hip-hop music? People want to call me hip-hop. They just say it in spirit. They don't say it to me like it's my name. My rap name was Funkedelic. You could say I'm hip-hop supreme rage imperial. Y'all be knowing about that for a fact. You know what I'm saying? I would never want to go to that courthouse in the city and be in the protest with Puff Daddy situation. Hell no, I would not do it. I pass. There's a lot of hip-hop events that I want to go to that I'm not interested of going, that I've been there many times, that I say, you know what, I don't want to go here. I don't want to be there. You know what I'm saying? I get tired after a while. Even when I went to Rock the Bells Festival, I was feeling drowsy. Feeling drowsy because the sun beamed in my face because I'm taking all sorts of medication. I felt very drowsy and tired, and I wanted to go home. How would I want to figure out to be in a hip-hop concert and just having fun without being threatened by security, without getting kicked out the venue? You know what I'm saying? I don't give a damn about what people be doing at a concert. You want to feed me criticism? You want to do that paranoia crap? I don't really care. I don't really care. That's your problem, pal. You know? A lot of people don't respect nothing in this world and don't give a damn about life. Even if they really want to be sipping Hennessy and Coronas and Heinekens and all sorts of these Hennessy bottles that smash on the floor like a glass window. How would I really feel about the situation with people using Hennessy bottles to smash people in their faces with when your face bleeds like fatality, like you're playing a game of Mortal Kombat or something? I've been watching some of them series in The Sopranos. I've been seeing people get whacked for no reason. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing people, talk crazy and then they get whacked. Because there's a lot of wise guys that act like wise guys that play on The Sopranos. They act like wise guys. They act like tough people. They act like gang members. They act like, that they have a family to support up in Newark, New Jersey. I've been like a day one Soprano fan. Rest in peace to James Gandolfini and Tony Cicero and Frank Vincent. Those were the OGs that played in them Sopranos. Shout out to my man Bobby Bacala. Shout out to my boy Michael Imperioli. Those are my OGs that played in the Sopranos. Because it's way better than watching a series of Power. If you think you're watching something about power and ghosts, go back to the Sopranos. It's like a movie TV series. Go to that. If you think you want to know about Italian people, about the mafia and the mob movies, go watch an episode of The Sopranos. If you think you want to act like a tough guy, go watch a flick of The Sopranos. You can watch it anywhere on all platforms. All pay due respect to everybody here. Happy birthday, shout out to the Shark. Salute to the Shark, gold tinted glasses. Happy birthday, brother. All right. So, want to let you know, a lot of people got mad love for me because I just be calm at a concert instead of people flipping the hell out. For that type of main reason, people do stupid stuff at the events all the time, even in clubs and everywhere you go in life. Having a lot of money in your pocket don't make you a man. A lot of people that I know, they're not going to respect you. A lot of people who I really know in person, people are going to really shit on you. They don't want you to be on the top of the mountain. I don't really want a rap contract. I really don't even need it because I don't have to have one and I don't even need one myself. But I could be a lyricist without having the fame. I don't need security. I don't need to pull out a pistol. I don't need to do none of that stuff. I fight like a man and I can act great like a man if I need to, instead of being so spoiled in my own life. People don't respect me, I'm going to kick them out my life. And when they get cursed out, they deserve to get cursed out. Some people are watching my live right now and I can see who it is. Everything's all right. People are just have kids to take in the park. Sorry, I couldn't make it to Bronx Week today. I had a lot on my mind. I'm waiting for next month to jump off so I can just take a dive and going to a hip hop event or a wrestling event. I'm not just even hip hop, I'm wrestling too. Don't get it messed up. I don't care about the wrestling event being a golden era, because it ain't gonna be a golden era no more. You can rewind wrestlers back and bring them back to wrestle in the ring, but I don't have to tell people I want it to be the golden era of wrestling. I can only reflect back on it, but I can't bring it back to life. There ain't no way in heaven I can ever do that. I'm sorry, in life that I can do that. A lot of people act like frauds in the city, thinking they want to be tough guys, looking to rob people's stuff and get away with it. People like to be conning you about how much money they have, getting you a contract, getting you a record deal, taking your phone to pay for an Uber, and boom, all of a sudden, they've robbed your stuff. They really rob your stuff. You can't trust anybody out inside this world. People are going to put you on, people are going to get you a record deal, people are going to make you sign a contract. No, they're not. They're full of salami sandwiches with burnt toast on it. That's how I feel about people. All that reactions that they do out in the street is like doo-doo on a stick. All the reactions that people do, and they con you and talk to you out of their head, it's a scam. You can't trust anybody. The only thing you can trust in life is yourself. That's the only person you can ever trust in your life is yourself. You can't trust other people. They're going to give you money wherever you feel like getting money. You got to get your ass up, go up there and work for it. You got to apply online for jobs. You got to make moves. You got to act like that you're your own businessman. You got to realize what I'm talking about. If you don't like what I'm talking about, then get off the live. If you don't have to stay on here and hear my nonsense. There's some events this year that are jumping off. The ones I'm going to go and the ones I'm not going to go. You know what I'm saying? If people can't behave at an event, I can either tell security or walk away from the problem. Walk away from the messed up situation. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm talking about? You know how people could be in life. And then people in life love to drain your energy down the faucet. Like water's dripping out of the faucet. There was a lot of people that didn't know me and they drained my energy. And people was talking smack when I was doing. It didn't just happen at a rap event. It happened everywhere. Everywhere. It didn't matter where it happened at. I didn't give a damn if it happened in Hong Kong or Japan or Australia. It can happen everywhere. Things in life could happen everywhere. Things in life could happen all over the place, all over the world. You know what I'm saying? People think they're perfect. People got it made. People talk very stern. People talk a bunch of crap. And they want to blame you the stuff they did. They want to pick fights. They want to use weapons to stab you, shoot you, beat you up, leave you dead in the street, and get away with it. And then, like minutes later, the people that did do something like that, they're the ones that suffer consequences for their big life threat reactions. A lot of people don't think before they act. A lot of people in this world do not think before they act. You know, I'm really sick and tired of people like disrespecting other people in life. You know, picking fights from blacks, from Latinos, from Mexican people, Colombians. It doesn't matter what kind of color you are. Red, yellow, blue, orange, green, grape. It don't even matter. It don't matter. To have a good time in life, to live life to the fullest, you gotta fight for your right to party. You gotta do that. And if you don't, you're making your situations a whole lot worse. I care about what I do. I don't have to be at a hip hop event every night and then I get called to come home and there's no cab to get home because I ain't got enough money for it. How does it make me feel if I couldn't get an Uber if I'm far away from the Bronx? If I'm far away from New York? It won't be possible to get me an Uber. It won't be a possible thing. One time I was in Connecticut. I didn't go home till like 6 o'clock in the morning waiting for the Metro North to come back to Fordham Road. It happened one time to me. But if I didn't call, the people would have called the police on me and saying that I was a missing person. They act like I never came back to the residence. It happened a few times with me that I was bullied in my own house, in my own apartment. I've been bullied a lot in my life, like everybody else did, from being here and not being here. You know, nobody is very perfect. Nobody is a legend, nobody. The only legend who I know is God, Jesus Christ. Some people in life don't respect hip hop and don't know how to treat it. Hip hop was out before 1973, way before that. It could be James Brown, and they had the Pigment guy. There was a couple of black guys like Louis Anderson and Pigment something back in the 1960s. They had hip hop in the 60s. A lot of people didn't know about that. Dr. Seuss was hip hop before 1973. Did you know that? Dr. Seuss, the one that promoted Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham. How many of y'all remember Dr. Seuss? How do y'all remember that? Maybe you're too young to know because you were born in the wrong era. You was really born in the wrong era if you're way too younger than me. You know what I'm saying? You was born in the wrong. If you're born in 2006, you're not in the era that I was born in. Okay? I was born in the disco era. Because when I was a toddler, I used to watch The Muppet Show and Dance Fever. Okay? I was born and raised in the Bronx. It didn't matter if I was in high school upstate in Westchester. It didn't even matter about that. I've been bullied. Everybody in life got bullied at school. Everybody did. There was nobody that was perfect in school but me. But I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot of things. I learned a lot when I was in Idelson and Edenwald Center. You know that, right? From my own time being who I am today. It took me time being a rapper. You're first going to fall in rap back in the year 2013. You're not going to even know about hip hop until you do a big research to it. You know what I'm saying? Taking that rapper Lil D. He's a lot younger than me. And he spits his bars like he's the hip-hop Plastic Man from the DC comic era, from the Justice League. I'm not trying to disrespect Lil D. I like Lil D. But every time I see him, he be wearing those Plastic Man glasses. And he be having hair like Mr. Plastic Man. I remember y'all watched that cartoon back in the day, Plastic Man. Okay, how many of you remember that show? Because every time I see Lil D, I think of Plastic Man, like raising his head up all the way in the sky. You know what I'm saying? Wearing those crazy glasses like Archie do, you know? I remember that, listen to Casey Kasem back in the day on some radio station. But did you know Casey Kasem was the voice of Robin from the Super Friends, and he was the voice of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo? He was the first voice actor from Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. How will y'all know about that? How would I see it to believe it? You know what I'm saying? I can take it back to the Popeye era. It didn't mean nothing about watching Popeye. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Roger Rabbit was good, of course. I remember watching Roger Rabbit when I was like about 11 years old, when it was in my theater near me, back in 88. Listen, let me tell you something. 1988 was a good year for hip hop. It was a good year for everything. Okay? 1988 was one of the best years for hip hop. Period. Okay? It was the culture of living that time. Hip hop in 88. You know what I'm saying? The best year for rap was 1988. You know that, right? Because everybody was wearing fat gold chains, 3-finger rings. You know, I was born that year in 1976. I was born that year. But in the fall. I was born in 76. You didn't even exist. You was the size of a little pill that time, buddy boy. You were size as an aspirin. You didn't even exist. The mother didn't give you birth yet. You was a seed in her stomach that time. I was born that year. Hell no, you're not, man. Stop playing, B. You're not older than me. Stop playing. I'm your little brother. Remember that. I don't care if you're older or younger than me. Hip hop is one. That's cool. I don't care about ages. You're 76, all right. You're my father's age. Okay. 1776 was 4th of July when it all started. And that time George Washington was alive. He was one of the first presidents that came to the United States. It was like 200-something years ago. Just like 300-something years ago when George Washington became president of the United States. Way before your time. I'm talking about, Benjamin Franklin wasn't president. You remember Abraham Lincoln was president. And he got killed. Booth killed him. The guy named Booth killed Abraham Lincoln. You know who was president, but he's on a $20 bill? Andrew Jackson. William Taft. I'm talking about religion type of president, politicians. I didn't really care how old you were, if you're older or younger than me. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're older than me. I don't really care. You're my father's age for 76. You know, if you're 76 years old, then you're old enough to be my pops. You're the same age as my father. Cut it out. I don't really care how old you can be in life. You know what I'm saying? You can listen to hip hop until you're 105 years old. I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? Like another 50, 100. If it was 100 years from hip hop in the year 2073, you probably listen to hip hop in the big white clouds, because that's what you're going to be for the rest of eternity, for the rest of your life. As I must say that. You'll be dancing in your grave, listening to hip hop music like I will be soon one day. If I ever call to the big house, you know? You only live once. You don't come back. In life, you only live once. Life could be long for people, And life could be short for people, and life could be too short for people. You know, a lot of people that I knew personally didn't make it to age 76. A lot of people who I knew, that I know about, did not make it to see 76 years old. A lot of people died from being under 70 and older 70. It didn't make a difference what people did in life. Yeah, hip hop will be gone by 2030. Huh. You know, you can say that now. If you want to listen to hip hop in 2030, you know what you do? Play an old school hip hop mix for the next 50 years. If you're still alive then. A lot of DJs, a lot of old school DJs I knew died. Rest in peace to DJ Mr. C. Rest in peace to Mr. Magic. Rest in peace to DJ Scott LaRock. He was one of the first DJs ever got killed in hip hop. One of the first guys. Rest in peace to Disco King Mario. Rest in peace to DJ Grandmaster Flowers. Okay, I'm talking about real stuff. Like if you're a real hip hop head like I am, put the fire emojis up. If you're a real hip hop head like I am, put the fire emojis up. I'm not playing. Put those airplane emojis up if you're down with me to be on this podcast. No, this ain't Drink Champs. This is not the Joe and Jada podcast. It's the Funkable Operator podcast. And I'm the one that's hosting it. Nobody else. I don't have to be on a pillow and talk to a mic every day. I don't have to do all that. I can talk to you virally on Instagram Live and say what I say. This ain't the Joker show. This ain't no Fat Joe Chopra nonsense. This is the real deal, what the hell I'm talking about. Okay? You could be 110 and still listen to hip-hop music. You can listen to hip-hop when you go to the nursing home, on a wheelchair, when the nurses feed you grapes for breakfast, and pancakes, and omelets. Well, hip-hop in 2030, you're probably dead or in jail, dead or alive. If you're 76 now, what's hip-hop going to be like in the year 2073 when it turns 100 years old? What kind of hip-hop are they going to have? They're going to have the whole Bronx. They're going to have the whole Bronx barricaded to do the 100 years of hip-hop concert in 2073. It's going to take the whole New York City. New York's going to fill capacity for the whole entire wide city to do hip-hop in 2073. You know that, right? I know hip-hop is 2 years older than me, but I don't really give a damn about it. I did a lot of research on hip-hop. I did. Before social media, before technology, it was cassettes, radio, and television, and magazines. That's what was our social media back in the day. The vinyl, the CDs, the 45-minute cassette tapes. Probably you're voting for the next president to be hip-hop. You know, it will be somebody. Who's going to be the next president for the next 8 years? Do you think Donald Trump is going to hold on to a grudge of being the next president for the next 10 years from now? Do you think Donald Trump is going to take care of this situation when he needs to be taking care of this situation we're going through? From the White House, from the American flag, the red, white, and blue, Well, speaking of flags, I remember people was calling me a racist back in the day because I used to wear the red, black, and green beads on my neck. I wasn't being a racist because 9 out of 10, the people who I know personally didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. They didn't understand at that time. It was kind of new to these people what I was doing. I wasn't trying to be a racist. I was doing it for the culture. You heard? I did. I just wear those beads for the culture of hip-hop music. You know? I wasn't gonna act like no nigger. I wasn't trying to act like no black man. No. I was doing it for the culture. The city we planted hip-hop music. No, I don't want to be like Malcolm X. I don't want to be like Harriet Tubman or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be like none of those dudes because they were like I'm one of their great grandchildren. You know that want to spit very good, just like my man Elvis Presley was my great grandfather. You know, but he's not. But Elvis Presley lives in spirit, just like Michael Jackson and James Brown lives in spirit. Even Frank Sinatra lives in spirit. You know, Sammy Davis Jr. lives in spirit. You know, Dean Martin lives in spirit. You know, we grew up watching those people on TV. We grew up watching Rodney Dangerfield's comedy roast. We enjoyed watching it. You know why? Because we used to watch Johnny Carson because he was very entertaining for us that time. You know what I'm talking about? Get the picture. You know? Every time my birthday hits, it's always a Christopher Columbus holiday. You know what I'm saying? Christopher Columbus came out after my birthday appeared, when I was born in 76. That's the year I was born in 76. I was born in October 76, before even Halloween started. I was born after Halloween that year. You know, I don't care if you're older than younger than me. I don't care if you're 78 years old. I don't give a shit if you're 80 or 95 years old to be my great-grandfather. You know what I'm saying? To know about rap. This is a fact that I'm telling you. Didn't you know back in 2006 in December, my grandfather died Christmas Eve. My grandfather on my mom's side died Christmas Eve. And James Brown died the next day after my grandfather passed. We lost two domain legend icons in 2006. First was my grandfather, Louis Miro, and then we lost James Brown, the godfather of soul. You know what I'm saying? I grew up listening to James Brown. He's got some dope-ass music. When he was with Full Force, the JBs, and you know, James Brown was like a good hip-hop artist. You know, you think James Brown's the first rapper. A lot of people be saying James Brown was the first rapper. But he was the godfather of soul. You know, when he performed at the Apollo, when he did a thing on Soul Train, or the American Bandstand with the late great Dick Clark. You know what I'm saying? Watching Graffiti Rock and all those shows, like on MTV. You know what I'm saying? Like MTV shows or black entertainment television that you've been watching, like you see in Richard Pryor being a funny comedian, watching those classic Bruce BET movies like Red Fox or Eddie Murphy or Martin Lawrence, Bernie Mac, etc., Barry White. I gotta school people on Instagram Live. I gotta school people the way I should school people, because Memorial Day's coming up pretty soon. You know it's around the corner. Summer's almost around the corner. You just gotta have to like eat up the time by working or doing something with your life. You know what I'm saying? You can relax. You can watch YouTube videos, like read a book, write some lyrics, go work, do something with your life. I just want to stop being so bored taking those trial and error medications. Believe what I'm talking about, how I'm saying stuff like this. You know the vibes, you know the flavor. You know the way I feel about situations like this, about not listening to mumble rap, taking it back to the essence of real hip hop, going old school, you know, going new school, going the north, the south, the east, and the west coast. The first West Coast rappers I ever heard was NWA, and I heard Ice-T and Ice Cube, and they had a lot like a lot of people like Eazy-E, you know, Eazy-E put Compton on the map. Without Eazy-E, Eric Wright, there would be no NWA. If it was for Eazy-E, you know what I'm saying? There would be no NWA. I've never been to Los Angeles. I never want to be in Los Angeles. That's the gang capital of the nation. You've been hearing rapper Ice-T talking about doing a record, Cop Killer. And he had a rock group called Body Count. I remember that. When Ice-T came out with rap albums like The Syndicate with African Islam with DJ Evil E and Donald D, the Rhyme Syndicate with Nat the Cat and Everlast. I believe Everlast was the first white rapper that went solo in the 80s. It wasn't Vanilla Ice. It had to be Everlast or somebody. You know what I'm saying? He was one of the first white rappers that ever came out. And then back in '92, he did some joints with two members from, and they made a rap group called House of Pain. You ever heard of Snow? You ever heard of these other rappers? Like you say Rodney Dangerfield was a rapper. Maybe you say he did a record called No Respect. That was a classic. You know? A lot of people love that golden era too much. You keep talking about it, you won't make it rest in peace. Because a lot of older people that are older than me couldn't get enough of it. And that's why I'm talking about that. Hey, yo, I gotta go. This is Jay Funkadelic, the Funkable Operator Podcast, episode 39. I'm gonna holler at you another day, another dollar. Peace.